It's a light week this weekend in the Big 12, including our Sooners being off this weekend, guys. But that doesn't mean that there's not some entertaining games around college football and around the Big 12 this week. I'll tell you who I think is going to win those ball games and all of that. And that's what we'll get into next, right here on the College Football Pick'em Special. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the show. My name is Harry James Taylor. This is a pick'em show here to where I pick the people who I think are going to win or lose this weekend in college football. Big 12-wise, as we've already talked about, my Sooners are off. That doesn't mean that there's not some entertaining games around the Big 12 this year. This weekend, including a game that kicks off at 11 a.m. between Kansas, and they will be in New Jersey at Rutgers on the Big Ten Network. I'm going to go with Rutgers in this football game. 2 o'clock p.m., conference play continues for the Big 12 with Rice at Baylor on Fox Sports Net. I'm going to go with Baylor. And finally, at the 2 o'clock edition, neutral site game between Maryland and West Virginia on Fox Sports 1. I'm going to go with the Mountaineers. Conference play starts this weekend with the two afternoon teams being in interconference games starting at 2:30 p.m. on ESPN. Oklahoma State and Texas will face off in Austin. I'm going to go with Oklahoma State in this matchup. I know a lot of people. I think that they just. I don't think that Oklahoma State's going to give up that many points, as many as they did to Cal last week. And finally, speaking of defense, at 2:45 p.m. on National Fox, Texas Christian will be at Texas Tech on Fox. I'm actually going to go with TCU in this ball game. And I know that they're down to about their third string now defensive players, but then the third string defensive players at TCU are still pretty good defensive players, I think. So that's the interconference matchups. National games, Thursday nighters at 6:30 on ESPN. It includes Cincinnati at defending champion Memphis on ESPN. I'm going to go with Memphis. On Friday night, there's two games. Boise State will be at Virginia on ESPN. I'm going to go with Virginia. And then at 9 o'clock p.m., Fox Sports 1, Stanford will be at Oregon State. I'm going to go with the Trees of Stanford. Today, which is Saturday, national-wide, 11 a.m. is when it all starts off as normal with the breakfast and all that. And it's BYU at Michigan on ABC. I'm going to go with Michigan. BYU's Hail Marys the last couple of weeks, I think that this time the Hail Mary, again, will fall just short. It did last week at UCLA. And I think Michigan might be a little bit better than UCLA, so I'm going to go with Michigan. Staying in the state of, that's on ABC. Staying in the state of Michigan on the Big Ten Network, Central Michigan will be at Michigan State. I'm going to go with Michigan State on the Big Ten Network. ESPN News at 11 will have Southern Mississippi at Nebraska. I think Nebraska is going to be able to kick back and get back into the winning ways there. ESPN 2, Georgia Tech at Duke. I think that Duke is going to win this matchup. The SEC Network will have Southern at Georgia. I'm going to go with Georgia. Central Florida at South Carolina on ESPNU. I'm actually going with Central Florida in this matchup. The defending, I guess 2 years ago they won the division, so they know what it's like to win in hostile environments. LSU at Syracuse. I'm going to go on ESPN. I'm going to go with LSU. And the final game on the docket for the 11 a.m. games, CBS Sports Network, you'll see Navy at the University of Connecticut. I'm going to go with Navy. 11:30 a.m. games. These games are both on ESPN3.com, including Delaware's at North Carolina. I'm going to go with UNC. And then Indiana will be at Wake Forest on ESPN3. I'm going to go with the Wake. As you heard me before, there are no regular ESPN games that start at 11. That's because it starts at 12 for them on ESPN, as Northern Illinois will be at Boston College. I'm going to go with UNI, Northern Illinois. A little bit later at 12:30, you'll be able to say Nicholls State at Colorado on Pac-12 network. I'm going to go with the Pac-12 team Colorado, and now at 12:30 at 1:30 p.m. Florida International, FIU, will be at Louisiana Tech on Fox College Sports. I'm going to go with La Tech. The 2:30 game on the docket, the middle games are next that we're going to talk about, and they include an ESPNU game between North Texas, UNT, and they will be at Iowa. I'm going to go with Iowa. Also includes Ohio at Minnesota on the Big Ten Network. I'm actually going to go with the Ohio Bobcats. ESPN2 or ABC. Virginia Tech at East Carolina. I'm going to go with ECU. I don't think the Virginia Tech quite understands what they're trying to do defensively. And I think that East Carolina knows that they're trying to do offensively. So I think that East Carolina is going to win that one. CBS National, Tennessee will be at Florida on CBS. I'm going to go with Florida. NBC will have the University of Massachusetts at Notre Dame. I'm going to go with the Fighting Irish. ESPN2 ABC, the mirror of the Virginia Tech East Carolina game, will be Western Michigan at the Ohio State. I'm going to go with Ohio State. I think that, they were a bit shell-shocked last week. I think that this time it'll be a little bit more of a cakewalk for them. Big Ten Network game at that time, 2:30 p.m., will be San Diego State at Penn State. I'm going to go with Penn State. Marshall will be at Kent State on ESPN3. I'll go with Kent State. Miami of Ohio will be at Western Kentucky on the CBS Sports Network. I'll take Western Kentucky in that one. And finally on ESPN3.com at the 2:30 slot, Nevada will be at Buffalo. I'm going to go with Buffalo. At 3 o'clock, there's two games more. University of Louisiana Monroe will be at Alabama as Alabama tries to bounce back. That game on the SEC network. I think Alabama will bounce back. They're going to bounce back. That's all that needs to be said. They're a good team in Alabama. ESPN News has the other game that starts at 3 o'clock. Middle Tennessee will be at Illinois. I'm going to go with Illinois. The 4 o'clock game on the Pac-12 network will be Cal at Washington. I'm going to go with the Huskies. 5 o'clock p.m., two games, ESPN3.com on both. Army will be at Eastern Michigan. I'm going to go with Eastern Michigan. And Samford will be at Louisville on ESPN3.com. I'm going to go with Louisville. At 6 p.m., a couple of SEC games kick off the 6 p.m. docket, including a neutral site game at AT&T Cowboy Stadium between Texas A&M and Arkansas on the ESPN. I'm going to go actually with Texas A&M. The other SEC game is Vandy at Ole Miss. I'm actually going with on ESPNU. I'm actually going with Ole Miss. I think they're going to, they're going to score a lot of points. Outside the SEC, there are three more games. They include James Madison at SMU on ESPN3. I'll go with SMU. Colorado State will be at Texas San Antonio on ESPN3. I'll go with Colorado State. The Akron Zips will be at Louisiana Lafayette on ESPN3. I'll go with Lafayette. And finally, Arkansas State will be at Toledo on ESPN3. I'll go with Toledo. The 6:30 p.m. games include, or go like this, a couple of SEC teams. Mississippi State will be at Auburn on ESPN2 at 6:30 p.m. I'll go with Auburn. And Missouri will actually be at Kentucky on the SEC network. I'm going with our buddy Bob Stoops at OU. I'm going with his brother Mark Stoops at Kentucky. He's doing a great job there. Could have easily beaten Florida last week and gotten them ready for another good, solid year. This one's at home again against a team that's not quite as good as Florida, and I think that they're going to take advantage. But Missouri's still a good team. 7 o'clock docket. ESPN News will be NC State at South Alabama. I'm going to go with North Carolina State. Big Ten Network, 2 games. Ball State will be at Northwestern. I'm going to go with Northwestern. Hawaii will also be at Wisconsin on the opposite Big Ten game. I'll go with Wisconsin. Big Ten Network for both. Texas will be at State. Will be at Houston on ESPN3.com. I'm going to go with the Houston Cougars. And finally, the national game, UCLA will be at Arizona. That's where game day is. That game's on A, B, C. I'm going with the Wildcats. The 7:30 p.m. game, the nightcapper on Fox is Utah. The Utes will be at the Oregon Ducks on Fox. I'm going to go with Oregon. 8 p.m. on ESPN3.com, Georgia Southern will be at Idaho. I'm going to go with Georgia Southern. And the final game on the docket for at least the TV broadcasts are concerned, 9:30 p.m. tonight, Fresno State will be at San Jose State on CBS Sports Network. I'll take San Jose State. All right, guys. That's it for the college football pick video of this week. Of course, my Sooners will be back on here next week and every other week until college football championship weekend. But until the next time that we're together, thanks for watching. Follow me on Facebook. Find me on Facebook, Harry James Taylor, or follow me or tweet me at SoonerFanOK. Thanks for watching, guys, and as always, enjoy your college football Saturdays. I'm out. See y'all next week. Bye-bye.